Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Matt, and we are going to talk about g.l.o.w Season 1, Episode 9. It's called The Liberal Chokehold. Full spoilers for the episode, as always. So, this is the penultimate episode. We are one away from the finale. And this one was the girls all find out about the money troubles, as does Sam. It becomes very clear early on. Bash shows up to the meeting with the executives, a little bit unkempt, like he's clearly coked out of his head and struggling to keep upright.
Yeah, he can't. He looks like he has a problem.
Yeah, so the girls all find out, and they basically try and raise the money themselves by doing a car wash. And then Bash has the great idea. Wait a minute, my mother, who has all the funds, of course, is throwing a fundraiser. Let's go and charm all the rich people into giving us their money. And we get a glorious montage of all of them faking a story, because the fundraiser is supposed to be for kids avoiding drugs, specifically crack.
Yeah, so since it's in the 80s, it's right in the middle of the Just Say No
Yeah.
from Nancy Reagan. And so you have all of these Nancy Reagan types at this fundraiser. So the message is pointed directly at them.
Yeah. So we get this montage of all of the wrestlers standing in front of this crowd and telling a sob story about how they do crack. And it's actually a really funny set of little snippets, because it's basically some of them kind of like forget to even mention the drug and then just go, "Oh, and yeah, I was doing crack."
Yeah.
Or like Jenny, Ellen Wong's character, she Bash says she can't speak English, so I think she's just doing fake noises to sound like Chinese,
Yeah.
and then just inserts the word crack towards the end so they
Yeah.
understand that word. And that was pretty funny.
Yeah, because that was a pretty funny scene too. Is when they're trying to get into the fundraiser, and there's all these girls, and Bash is trying to get past the guy at the door,
Hmm.
and he goes, "Oh yeah, they've all been hard, and now wrestling's really turned them, as a force for good." And they all have unique stories. And she goes to say something. He goes, "Oh, but she speaks no English."
Yeah, that
Uh,
guy, by the way, is Holt's husband from
yeah,
Brooklyn Nine
Kevin.
Nine. Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
uh,
recognized him.
he's like, he's always one of those guys because he shows up in movies. I was like, "Oh, look, it's Captain Holt's husband."
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, so they go to this fundraiser, and stuff goes on. There's some Ruth and Debbie kind of bonding there, where they
Hmm.
almost slip into being friends again, and then kind of acknowledge that this is weird. And Debbie's like, I kind of hate that you made it impossible for us to ever actually have a normal conversation again. Uh,
Yeah.
but she does open it with like thanking her for not, like, whenever her husband's around, whenever Mark's around, she does go away. She makes sure she's not going to be there to like make
Yeah.
things worse. So she acknowledges that. Debbie does acknowledge it, and she thanks her for it. So, no. So obviously the big reveal at the end, which I think everyone saw coming by the time it happened, especially since it turns out Sam's script for
Oh
Mothers and
man.
Lovers was just a really creepy version of Back to the Future.
Yeah. Without Back to the Future, without the fun nor charm. Uh,
Well, I mean, I love Back to the... So it's funny though, as he was describing the plot, I actually went, wait, what year is this set again? Because I couldn't
yeah.
remember if it was like before or after Back to the Future. And I was
Mhm.
like, he's basically, I mean, obviously it started in a very more weird place, because he's talking about how the kid wants to have sex with his
Yeah.
mother. But he's like, he goes back in time, and his mother's trying to have sex with him instead of his father. And I'm like, and obviously the other guy like chimes in and goes, "Oh wait, you mean I've seen that movie? It's called Back to the
Yeah.
Future." And
And
then
it's
like,
funny.
and I love how Sam is distraught, like his entire dreams have just crumbled
Yeah.
before his eyes because someone else has already made Back to the Future. And I love that he's a director and he somehow did not know about Back to the Future. He somehow missed that.
Yeah, because I just feel he's so into himself. Like he doesn't go to movies, like he lets stuff come to him.
Well, he must have at
And
some point.
maybe he's in such a haze. I don't know.
Because
I just Mark
re-
Maron sold the defeat though.
yeah, but
Just like
he's referenced other movies throughout the show.
yeah, but were they recent at the time?
Yeah, some of them were. He was referencing De Palma and stuff. In fact, well, okay, I don't know if he's the one who referenced Body
No,
Double.
he
But
no.
he knew what it was, though. It wasn't like Back to the Future where he's like, "Oh, I don't know
True.
what that is." So
True.
yeah, so
I just the
it
way he described it to the jazz band too is that it's a semi autobiographical. I'm trying to think of some of the other words he used. Sci-fi thriller with elements of and it's basically about a dude that's infatuated with his mom. Um,
yeah,
and
and
it's
he
kind of on brand for Sam.
hold that aside. He wants to go to the future because he wants his mother to be old and wrinkly, and that way it'll stop him from having the orgies. But by
Yeah.
accident, he goes back in time and she's a teenager, which just makes it worse. That
Yes.
is that's a hell of a twist. It's a hell of a twist, Sam. I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
Uh,
Which, by the way, so I'd already kind of guessed that Justine was probably his daughter. If it was feeling kind of obvious
yeah.
early on in this episode, but him telling the story for the script made me go, "Oh shit, he's going to try and kiss her because this parallels nicely with his incest script."
Yep.
It flips it on its head, of course, but it
Yeah.
parallels with it nicely. And of course, that's the final moment where, and Sam, who has otherwise been, who between the last episode with the whole thing at the abortion clinic, and in this episode, Bash comes to speak to them after the car wash.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Hey Sam, can I talk to you for a minute?" And he says, "Not anything you can say to me, you can say for the girls." Like he's
Hmm.
made some strides. He makes these gestures where he actually feels like more of a human being who cares about them. Even if there is some parts of him that are selfish, or he's out for himself, like he's pissed that his movie's not going to get funded and so on.
Yeah.
But here at the end, when Justine says, "I'm your daughter," and he just gets super confrontational. Where he's like, "What do you want? Do you want money? Do you want like an organ? Do you want this? Do you want that?"
Yeah.
He can't understand. He kind of refuses to acknowledge the idea that she's just there because she wants to know her father, and I think he realizes what he just did when she leaves. But
Yeah.
he kind of pushed her away, and she leaves upset.
Hmm.
I mean, obviously she's already kind of upset because he tried to kiss her, but
Yeah. We also saw earlier in the episode he knows that she stole the camera, and but he kind of just lets it go. Um, so I thought that was also a thing with Sam, where I feel Sam in the beginning would have actually fired her for that. So that was also a nice little to show his growth with
yeah,
everybody because they, like you said, they are all in it together, and especially with Justine, is even though they haven't had too many scenes together, you feel like her being around is not so annoying, even though she's a huge fan. You know?
there's been a definite bonding with everyone. Like even just
Hmm.
before they go into the fundraising party, like Sam and Ruth, like they kind of have each other's backs, and
Hmm.
they're helping each other not feel uncomfortable because they kind of, and it felt like, I don't know, it stopped being like she's this annoying person to him, and now it's someone that he sort of trusts to. Like he banters with her and tells her more stuff than he does anyone
Hmm.
else, and
Yeah,
on the roster, and I think that's notable that he has that kind of bond there now.
yeah, because he tells her that they lost the venue at the party. Like
That's
it
right.
doesn't even take like she's just like, well, you're grumpier than normal, and he just tells her. It's not like she has to pull up from him.
Yeah, there's a
Uh,
familiarity there now,
yeah,
which obviously wasn't there at the start of the show.
exactly.
So that's cool. So yeah, no, so we get some fun scenes with them doing the car wash and stuff like that. I think it's a solid episode. It does suffer a little bit from coming after two of the best of the season. Where
Yeah.
we had the fun training and the actual sort of wrestling of the seven, and last episode had that emotional twist to it.
Hmm.
Gave it a lot of weight, and the characters had a lot of bonding. Although that said, I actually like. There was some great moments in this as well, where Debbie admitting that she likes wrestling, and it's something that she's doing for her. She talks about how
Yeah.
she's getting to use her body just for her, and not for her child, not for her husband. It's
Right.
purely about her. And that was really interesting to hear because it goes back into all these ideas that we've been talking about since the start of the show about them building their own niche, doing something that is for
Hmm.
them that they don't really have access to before now, and all the rest of it. And it seems like all of them do actually want to do it and like it. Like the idea that they decide to do this car wash, they decide to try and raise money,
Yeah.
and they care about
They're
it.
all in it together, and even when they go to the fundraiser at Bash's mom's, they're all supporting one another. Even as
Mm.
they're telling all the stories, they're all kind of hanging out because Melrose goes to grab a drink, and Britannica, what's her name,
Rhonda.
Rhonda. She's like, no, we're supposed to be recovering in a halfway house, you know. So she's like, they're all working towards a goal.
I can fall
And
off
I
the
thought,
wagon now and be back on it by the end of the night.
well, I also felt like Melrose's story out of all the stories was the most truthful that she's saying, like, because she says she's been through 3 rehabs,
Well,
and this one was,
outside of Ruth, who was actually completely true
well,
except the crack part.
yeah,
Because she tells a story about sleeping with her best friend's husband and how
yeah,
she was drunk the first time but not the second time and so on and so forth.
yeah, yeah.
So she told a very accurate story, which again was a really nice moment for them because that was her like
Hmm.
because you get the feeling that because Debbie didn't even want to talk to her for the longest time and then they kind of started talking just to communicate for the wrestling itself. That this is the
Hmm.
first time she's got to just say how how she feels about it to her,
Yeah.
and
Well,
under this
they're
guise
back on
of
a, yeah, they're on a human level with each other versus like that we saw that split when they're both by the pool. Here and in a lot of the scenes they're right next to each other.
yeah. But
So,
all I'm saying is that this gives her the floor to do this, and
mhm,
it's under the guise of it not being really about her, but it is. Like she knows it's
yeah,
about her, and she knows that she's talking to her directly.
right.
But it gives her this opportunity where, because even though they were starting to talk to each other more in this episode, I still think had she started to try and just say this stuff, Debbie would have probably shot her down and probably would have
Yeah,
said, "No, I'm not talking to you about this."
yeah.
So
Well, then it's Ruth taking matters into her own hands again, like she's done this whole season. And
yeah,
takes a leap.
baby steps.
Yeah.
Obviously, they don't get funding, but Bash's mother does agree to give them the ballroom at one of their resorts or hotels or
Yeah.
whatever she owns.
Hmm.
So they've got a venue, so presumably they just have to light it and stuff, and the studio come in and or
Hmm.
TV station will come in and shoot it, and there you go. There's your happy wrestling show. So I'm excited about the finale. I want to
Hmm.
see what they pull off with this show. Uh, how fun the actual event itself is going to be. And obviously we've got stuff to wrap up. Like Sam has to have a moment with Justine at the very least, and we have to see
Yeah.
like does Debbie accept the idea of like trying to like save her marriage, or does she decide that that's not actually what she wants, and not just because she's pissed at Mark, but because she realizes that's not the life that she was. She wasn't happy, and that's why she does feel so free doing this job because she was kind of trapped in
Hmm.
this role that she wasn't fully committed to. Not that
Yeah.
she wasn't fully committed as a mother. I'm sure she's still going to be a great mother, but
Yeah, but
just
she wants she's an actress. She wants to perform,
yeah,
and this allows for that, even if, like Bash's mom said, it's trash. It's still something she wants to do.
yeah. But that's the thing when Debbie says I love wrestling. It's like, man,
Hmm.
you've come a long way. Like
Yeah,
realizing it was like a soap opera has completely changed your entire dynamic
yeah.
of the whole
And,
thing.
and I feel some people that's true too with how they look at professional wrestling. My dad is not a big fan, never has been, even though I am, and he always likes to tell me, "Oh, it's fake." And I was like, "Dad, you realize Breaking Bad's not a documentary, right? Like, it's Bryan Cranston's acting." So, it's just one of those things that comes with the territory. But seeing one of the characters accept that as she goes, because she's pretty good at it, it's a fun watch.
To be fair though, Breaking Bad has never tried to pretend that it was real.
No, and I get that, but I'm
Don't
good.
get me
Just
wrong. These days it's a little bit
yeah.
different, but in the 80s, they were very much full on. Oh, this is all real. We don't talk about this as if like
Well, yeah, it was a different culture than it
kayfabe
is
was
now.
alive and well. Kayfabe, of
But
course.
yeah,
If you don't know what kayfabe is, I should explain that for
I don't
the
know.
non wrestling folk. Kayfabe is basically the word that wrestling has for the fiction of it. Like
Elements.
yeah, like kayfabe is what the fiction is, and then obviously reality is what's actually going on.
Yeah,
So
behind the scenes
so
and,
so
and
so,
whatnot.
so kayfabe is that these two people hate each other, but in reality they're just co-workers, whatever.
Well, yeah, it goes back to what Steelhorse says. Is
Hmm.
in the storyline we're enemies, and in real life we might not get along, but we still trust each other. So the reality of it, they're still working together,
Yeah,
but they're making it look like they aren't.
but they also
So
may get along. Like, there's no reason why
yeah,
they could be
exactly.
anything. It could be anything in between of love and hate.
Yeah, because back in the day, if you were a wrestler that got beat up at a bar by some dude in whatever town you're in, you were fired because you had to maintain that, larger than life persona
Hmm.
in, in the ring, out the ring. And now with the advent of technology, and we can drop the pretense a little bit and treat it like entertainment. So, but yeah, my just point on that was that, yes, Dad, I know it's not real. I'm not watching it for that, but it's the soap opera qualities to it.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Oh, well, let's not brush over the opening actually, because it uses
Yeah,
the hostage, the plane hostage
hijacking.
crisis. Yeah, the hijacking at the start. Uh,
Hmm.
I thought that was an interesting way to open the episode. Obviously, it dates it and says this is where we
Yeah.
are in a timeline.
Also, are these characters called Beirut, the Mad Bomber, and that's where this went on at. So
Mm.
I hope they change her character for the show and don't have
Oh,
a
because
controversy.
yeah, Arthur was clearly getting uncomfortable because they kept saying it, and
Yeah,
she's like, "Can we stop saying that word, please?"
yeah.
And I think the other side of that though is when it cuts to the TV execs, and he's like, "Oh, this whole thing's finally over." It's a shame because that was big for the
Ratings
ratings.
bonanza.
Yeah, that was the
Yeah.
word. Yeah, you're right. Ratings bonanza.
Oh man.
Uh,
I also like where they put Glow and it's in between um, a what does Sam say? Like a preacher, like a TV preacher,
yeah, it was a
in
Japanese
a
cartoon,
in an anime, which
which
for 1985, that's got to be like a new thing.
yeah, it must be actually. If I could be wrong here, but I think that's what he called it was Mitashi Miyamoto. Which,
Hmm?
if it is, then it must be based off the Samurai trilogy, which is an excellent trilogy of films from the 1950s. Uh, but I could be wrong. I may have misheard the name.
Musashi Miyamoto. I'm looking this up and seeing.
Yeah, Samurai 1's Musashi Miyamoto. That's the main character in it.
Okay.
But I don't know if there was ever an animated show after it. I mean, maybe they just made it up for this. It might not be a real
Yeah.
thing. Like, so
Well, it
even.
sounded like something, but it might just be because I know the movies because I've heard you talk
Yeah.
about them. So, there's an anime. Let's see when it came out real quick.
Oh, go
Uh,
on. Was it the
yeah,
mid
yeah.
80s?
It's not looking like it. It's looking
Nah.
like '09,
Ah, okay,
but
well.
it's
Never
on the
mind then.
full.
Never mind. Unless there's some more time travel involved, I feel like, nah.
Eh,
Um, Yeah, so I think the other thing with the whole hijacking though is it was to with the TV exec it was to show how TV in general will use things, even though it gets to do it in a more like the news is just the news, but the idea that the wrestling also uses these subjects that it shouldn't to like get
Yeah,
controversy to make things more spicy and get the ratings, and you want a
yeah.
conflict and all the rest of it. Um, but no, so I think it was poking fun at that as well, more than anything else.
Hmm.
Uh, so yeah, there you go. That's episode 9 of Glow. So we've got one
Yeah.
left. We've got the
Liberal
finale.
Chokehold, which the payoff to the title of it, I thought was hilarious too. So great name for an episode.
Yeah, because you have all these conservatives all complaining, but
Yeah.
and yet they're throwing a fundraiser to help drug addicts, which is
Yeah, well, look, they're talking about the politics at the time, and
mm,
they're plotting out the Senate races so they can take over, and where they're going to put their money to break the liberal chokehold of the '80s. And granted, I was only alive for half the '80s, so I don't, know all of this stuff. But yeah.
all right. There you go. That is episode 9 of Glow. We will be back
Mhm.
with the season finale on Sunday, so look forward to that. Get us on Twitter at mail_fuzz for channel updates. Head over to patreon.com/mailfuzztv if you want to support the channel and everything we do here. You can get some bonuses over there if you want to. But otherwise, guys, like, subscribe, all that stuff. Keep watching TV. We will see you next time. Have you got any vanilla?